morning, Tartaria Australia, autodidactic. Hey, buddy, how you going?
Good. How you doing?
Well,
How's my sound sounding?
All right, listen, before we even start the show today, I'm putting out a public call out for anyone in the Perth area who is a sound and audio technician to go over to Cambell's house and sort out his technology. It's time. It's time.
Shocking. I've even got a second screen here, sitting here, but I can't get it to work. So yeah. I need help.
We need to get his audio sorted, and we need to get the delay gone when he's doing these talks with other people, and just in general set him up in a little micro Tartaria studio. So if anyone's in the Perth area who wants to have a play date with Cambell for a day, I'm inviting you over.
Thanks, Cal.
So, buddy, we did another successful sold out live of Brisbane on the weekend. Fantastic. It was another awesome event, successful. JC and Cambell, you guys obviously zoomed in for the day, which actually worked. I can't believe it. There's so many. I know, it totally worked. And
So hope everyone had a good time who was there. I think we got 140 people or something in a bowls club, and we're going to be a bit further north in
yes. So we are heading towards fucking Rockhampton of all the places, and that came about because of the talk at Norfolk Island, and some awesome chicks in that talk came up to me and were like, we want you guys to come to Rockhampton. And I was like, Rockhampton? Like, what's in Rockhampton? Quickly Googled it, Cambell, and oh my fucking God, the buildings in Rockhampton are insane.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a few days to make a doco up there.
Oh my God.
And the best thing, it's warm. Anyone in a warm place, invite us.
I'm less excited about the heat as Cambell is. He's more like the goanna of our tribe. I'm more like the, Arctic golden seal. So basically Rockhampton has totally surprised me. I had no idea. If anyone is ever going to argue a point, there was a civilization here before us. Like, Rockhampton is an amazing one to look at. I mean, obviously it's far up at the hottest, toppest end of Australia. It's, essentially really remote from the capitals, and it is covered in the most gorgeous buildings that look exactly like Brisbane. Like Customs House in Rockhampton looks exactly like Customs House in Brisbane, and it's quite extraordinary. So I know last week or the week before we were looking at the Northern Rivers, and like, to be fair, Cambell, we didn't really do a top-notch job of going through the Northern Rivers.
No, we didn't.
We got sidetracked. We always get
we did.
But
it's everywhere. This is what we look into. It's just a similarity that's everywhere, right?
Yeah.
With these dodgy stories, and Rockhampton's way up it's in the tropics. It's it's not near any capital cities. It's way out there, and I haven't been there, so if it's full of all these, the same buildings, same architecture, same building style, then nice, right?
It's going to be cool. It's going to be cool. And I haven't looked into any of the history. I thought I'd save that for you and I to do when we're getting closer to the event. But just of a quick Google search, it's pretty amazing. So Rockhampton team, we are coming. It's Sunday, the 20th of November. It's the capacity of this one's 170. So we've got, and I've actually noticed, Cambell, that our little community events, they're so suited so nicely to bowls clubs and little pubs. Like, it's a cool vibe. It's chilled. It's relaxed. You can have a beer. It's not hardcore. They're really cheap venues. And whereas, these sort of like 500 plus gigs that the tours all kind of rotating around there, it's a whole other level.
A lot more formal,
So poor Alice, the amazing lady who's been taking our phone calls and organising the tour, she like pulling her hair out. Like, there is literally, to get to that 500 number, you're looking at venues that are like, up to $40,000. Like, they're insane anyway, like crazy, but who cares? We're just going to keep going and going and going. And It'll all work out.
Yeah, we'll find out. So you'll find links below, guys, to our phone number, email, tickets if you're up near Rockhampton, northern Queensland.
Yeah.
And if there's anyone up in, Rocky who's, may have some keys to some buildings that are interesting with lower levels, maybe, please send us an email. We'd love to hook up while we're there.
Yes, and listen, call out to all the amazing people that I met on Saturday in Brisbane. There was definitely a handful of you that I said, definitely come on the podcast, Cameron. I would love to talk to you further. So if you're watching this, please send us an email this week. Particularly the diver, who you actually spoke to a little bit from the Tweed.
Ian was it, I think.
Amazing. His information across the Tweed Northern River is fantastic. There was actually some amazing guys there with some amazing information. So if you are keen to explore some of the content, obviously in the live events, we don't get a chance, to sit down. It's impossible. There's too much going on. You can't really take on board, the conversations. Yeah.
It's a big day and or weekend, when we go out and there's so much coming in. You sort of finish it, it's like
it's true. So
anything, guys, just email us. If you use a Tartaria email, it will be replied to. We'll see it.
And you know what, Cambell, I saw so many people wearing Tartaria t-shirts and they looked amazing, and it's so much fun to look, because obviously we haven't actually seen them in real life, and guess which one was the most popular design?
Smart Mutters.
No. It'll surprise you. It's that one with the butterfly woman.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That one was, and it looked amazing. Everyone who wore it looked fantastic. So
I'm still waiting for the llama corns of Tartaria to be.
Yes, well, that's definitely one I should work on, actually, because the loftiness of the imagination plus Tartaria, that's what we are all about here at Tartaria Australia, for sure. All right, so tickets on sale for Rockhampton. The same deal, 44 and 33 for concession, and it's going to be starts at midday, goes through to the late afternoon at a cute little venue. It's going to be a blast, but primarily, obviously, always, it's less so about the amazing information, which is awesome, but it's about the coming together of the tribe and the wiring and firing of all your amazing imaginations and beautiful big brains, and just like being with your people and being able to talk at this level for the whole day. So that's why we got to get to these lives. Yeah,
that's the best thing is, we can sit there and talk and that, but the real power is when you guys talk, and you're sharing this and you come out with your own, points of views and things, and expand on the information, basically, because that expands everything, right?
Yeah, man, it's rad and cool, and I love them. So thanks to everyone who came out to Brisbane. You are a mighty cool crew, and we look forward to seeing you in February. And Cambell, call out, there was a handful of people there who flew in from interstate, from Tasmania, from Melbourne, from Sydney, who also came to the Melbourne event, and to you guys, absolutely amazing. Thank you for forming this little family around us. We really love getting to know you all and seeing everyone at the events over and over again. It's just rad. They're crazy glasses there, Cambell.
What's going on?
Yeah, this is very John Lennon-esque.
Yeah, man. These are my my steampunk. See, the middle bit's like a wire.
Yeah.
You can see that, and it's got writing on it. S.J. Paul. And he sent me 30 books.
Oh,
seriously, I've got this big stack of books next to me.
That's amazing.
Sunnies and honey and the young one's DVD collection.
What a rad guy.
I know, right?
Amazing. I love that. It's just so much exciting, when we get presents in the mail, especially, which helps.
Big thank you to everyone, who supports us in whatever way you can, especially sharing the content. We appreciate you all.
Yeah, because, we are so slack. I watch other channels, and all the way through, they're give us a like, give us a share, get us to YouTube. And I'm just oh my God, we never say this sort of stuff. We're so bad.
I know. So, guys,
give us a like.
Subscribe, hit the bell for notifications.
I know. Anyway, Cambell, so what are we on about today? I thought, look, I just made us these backgrounds. I thought, all right, let's do it, boy. We haven't talked about this specifically.
We haven't, no. I'm thinking about the walls of Jericho and a few other stories that we hear about. So trumpets.
Trumpets, boom, boom, boom. So listen, here's the theory, right? Here's the theory. The trumpets in the sky. So obviously, if we go back through history, back through the artwork specifically, we are going to come across over and over again, which seems to time very distinctively with a reset moment, the trumpets bellowing down from the skies. And there's so much artwork, Cambell. If we just did a quick Google search, just angels and trumpets, like we would see, like, let's just fucking do it live. We would see the most amazing degree of artwork to do with angels and trumpets. Why have we associated this idea of the angels, which essentially are the archons, which are essentially those from above, like with horns, with trumpets? Like where did that connection come from? Why is it always so predominant in the artwork? And what the fuck does it mean when a trumpet bellows down onto the earth, onto the land, and creates a massive sound blast that would of course equate to a vibration that would be like, what would be the word? How do you say it? Liquefaction, which, explain to the audience what obviously we've...
So liquefaction, basically when you get shaking from, very fast shaking, and it just turns the solid ground to mud, basically sand, and things sink down into it.
Exactly, which is probably from, at this point, the best explanation we have of the mud flood. That it could have been a combination of stuff falling down from the sky, but also the volume of sound from this concept of a horn bellowing across the plain, which could have messed with and sunk the buildings. And we've seen heaps of evidence of that example being put forward. Like you can Google it and see lots of clips.
There's heaps of stuff being done with sound at the moment, and what you can do. I mean, they're levitating things with sound. They're doing... with sound. They're doing, I can't actually say that word, the heel with the ing kind of word they're doing. And
what word can't you say?
The heel ing.
Can't we say that word now? Is that
I don't think you could say anything to do with the
wow.
Maintaining the physical body, shall we say?
Well, on health and well-being and abundance.
Exactly right.
Jeez.
Just opinions, YouTube. There's a lot of stuff on using sound, to destroy things, to break things up.
Because of course, like what we know about Tartaria, the architecture is that like sound was a massive part of it. Like the sound harmonics, the frequency cymatics, it was a big part of the mechanical engine, I guess. Yeah. We've got heaps of statues of angels pointing to the sky, and heaps of statues of angels blowing horns up at the sky. And, we've got all this context from the past artwork and books that talk about these sounds that rain down from the heavens, these massive sound blasts. I mean, and to say, a trumpet or a horn, but like, let's just say trumpet, like we think of a trumpet, we think of it as this beautiful sound we would hear in an orchestra, or in this sort of like classical vibe. Now, I mean, but then take a trumpet sound that actually could be heard across the whole realm, and that would be enough to, I mean, wouldn't that be enough to
mean, what do we keep talking about? What's everyone been talking about? What you know, we think's going to happen? It's a change in frequency, right?
Yes.
So that's sound.
Yes.
So like, are the trumpets literally the frequency changing? I mean, because, you know, we've got all these stories like, you know, Jericho, they surrounded, they blew their trumpets 7 times and the walls collapsed.
Yep.
Right. So that's affecting the physical world with the frequency. So, you know, we kind of get all these stories where they, you know, they sort of give us hints of what's going on, but then they, you know, educate that out of us or try to. So, yeah, I mean, this is a thing. Trumpets are, and that it's that sound, you know, when you say trumpets, and everyone hears it like that. That's long. I mean, and do you remember it was probably 10 years ago or so, there was lots of people recording that sound around the world. Do you remember that?
Yes.
These weird sounds.
Yes, in the sky. Yes, I remember that. And we should get some clips of that. The sound that comes out of, say, a trumpet, and you've seen them associated with the monks, and the monks moving objects. You've seen the massive instruments that they come out. Like when I was in the monastery, we used to get taught about these monks that would bring out, I mean, like they'd sit at the base of a mountain and bring out these instruments, these horn instruments that would require 10 of them to carry. And like they'd be basically giant instruments. So back then I was thinking, wow, they've built these amazing instruments, but actually probably they inherited them from the Tartarian days, and these giant instruments, giant horn instruments. And they would all line up, and then they'd blow these instruments and rocks would levitate. And this is how they explained, although, you know, stepping back in time in hindsight, they explained that this is how they built the monasteries on the cliff faces. They're using these sound frequency, these instruments, but, you know, that may be true, but also may be true that they were just leftover structures from the old realm. So,
well, it's interesting because, you know, we have all the pictures of the oh God, I don't know if I can say that word, right? The Anu and the Narkis.
Really? Oh, wow. We think that's sensitive.
Yeah, if you say that, you get a little thing under your video from YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, the pine cones.
Yep. Oh, yes.
Right, they're always, and then what was it? Coral Castle, Ed Leeds Scanlon. There's pictures of him as well. There's this story, these two boys saw him levitating rocks, and they said he was holding an ice cream cone, right? Like, what an ice cream cone looks like a pine cone, right?
Yep.
So is there something in that? It's the same shape as a trumpet?
Yes. There's something in everything. There is something in fucking everything. So, like, I have actually stood when I got really pissed off with God many years ago when I found out the earth was not what I thought it was shape-wise.
That lightning bolt moment.
Yeah, I got really fucking pissed off, went to the bush, yelled at the sky. First time I've ever been angry with our creator or source. And and then like when I finished yelling, 1 second after that, this massive lightning thunder strike maybe 20 meters away from me, unexpected, right there. And the wall of sound that hit me from that, like it blew my hair back. But what happened to my cells inside my body, and I can say this is my actual experience, everything vibrated so quickly and strongly that like all I could do was breathe in and just stand there, because it felt like it's not like having a heart attack, but it's like it's really uncomfortable. It's really weird. It's like, imagine every cell is vibrating so quickly, way quicker than I'd ever experienced ever before in my life, that it took 30 minutes for it to sort of calm down and return back to where we are in this moment. And it was a really shocking and very unique experience. So I can see from firsthand what a sound blast can do to the human biology. Like it fully, severely affected me. Like it's almost like you can imagine you were sort of flicking in and out of reality. Like it was almost like it was vibrating so quickly. I could see that potentially this is what it would be like if I was to biolocate or bio travel, that my system was just sort of so quick. I would be surprised if I had gone invisible in that moment. It was that sort of impact. Yeah. Now, that's just from like one person standing near a lightning or a thunderstrike. But then if you take a noise that could actually be heard across the whole realm, imagine the impact. Like we talk about missing people. We talk about what happened to all the fucking people. Don't we? Like that's a big question.
Yeah. Toltecs and all those kind of people, yeah.
What happened to the people?
The people from the last realm, did they levitate out of here?
Honestly, literally, I can say this has always piqued my interest because of that moment of my experience. I could feel like my body was vibrating so quickly, like the fan example, that it ceased to be actually seen. Like it took me into it could have biolocated me. It could have made me invisible to this realm and actually do you know what biolocation is?
Like move your body or put yours, yes. Is it your body or your spirit somewhere else? Yeah. Basically.
Well, basically during the Ramtha days, like one of their teachings is biolocation, which I, of course, never got anywhere near. But there were examples of students who basically stand there, focus their mind so strongly on a point, like a place, like a location, and they were able to using different breathing techniques, blah, blah, they'd be able to like disappear in that realm, physically disappear and reappear in that place. Okay, so that's biolocation.
So it's like oh god, what's the word? Not lucid dreaming. That other one, but physically.
Yeah, it's a total physical thing. Like it's actually something you can train in. Like if you can actually train in this technique.
Because that's the thing. Like when you got the lightning strike, right? You were basically asking a question, right? You were yelling, give me an answer, right? And so bang, and then what happened is every cell in your body got its frequency risen, right? Is that what happened? Is that part of the enlightenment? Because no doubt after that you had like, okay, a bit of,
I don't know if I was feeling enlightened.
You have an answer or no?
No, I can't say.
It was more like a shut up.
No. Like I had yelled out my like pissed offness 20 minutes earlier, had finally like basically lost my voice. That happened, and it was like I felt like I'd been electrocuted by the hospital thing. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, right, yeah. But it was sound. It wasn't electricity. It was sound. And then it's 30 minutes, and of course nothing was going on in my head. I was so shocked. It was like a shock wave, literally. And I just stood there, like just trying to regain my grounding in my body on the earth, right? And then after that, it happened after 30 minutes of me, it took 30 minutes, and everything shook around me. It wasn't just me and my hair and like, but everything had, and then after that, I heard a little voice, which said, it's a hologram. That little voice said it's a hologram. So yes, there was some communication, but the point of this illustration today is, you know, we've got a few variables. We've got a mud flood. We've got missing people that no one can explain. We have got the concept of horns in the sky, so trumpets in the sky, and we, of course, are fascinated, you and I, with the sun. And these sorts of events seem to time with something happening with the sun, then we're hearing a noise, then there's like this massive shift in frequency, people disappear, and then we've got this like this shaking of the earth's actual biological structure, like my structure, starts to waver and changes, and then the buildings start to sink. So
yeah, I wonder if there's any stories about sounds, you know, before, you know, whatever, Atlanta sunk or the vapor canopy.
I would say fucking definitely.
Mm.
I would put money on it.
Because and we've also got the pictures of back in early 1900s where they had weapons, right? War weapons that were trumpets and tubas and stuff, basically. Like, so, and I was just thinking, every kind of, you know, movie we see that's about, you know, destruction and that, there's always this wall, right, of destruct, like this sound wave.
Yes.
Almost freak. They always show it, just destroying everything as it goes across. And they say, oh no, it's just, you know, it's a shockwave, guys, from a bomb and all this, but you know.
That's what they do with the like nuclear bombs they put out there. Like, I mean, I'm not even convinced nuclear bombs. I've never believed in nuclear bombs, but like when you see them shown in the movies or in imagery, it's a sound wall that seems to do all the destruction. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can still see that scene from
Terminator.
Tomorrow.
Day after tomorrow.
Well. Yeah, remember that? And it's literally just and everything just gets destroyed by this wall. So what, you know, what are they telling us, right?
So I can test from my experience that in that moment with the sound, I felt like if I had my frequency been shocked any louder and longer, my vibration would have actually flickered me in and out of reality. That's how it felt. Like,
you might have disappeared.
Yes. So I can understand if we've got horns blowing from the heavens, that whole cultures, all the people on the earth could have disappeared, could have been biolocated, could have been actually forced in an instant through a massive frequency shift, a shocking frequency shift, biolocated somewhere else onto a different frequency band, and thus that would explain missing people in that. But you know, is it a good or a bad thing? I don't know.
I was just thinking, right? There's another kind of horn, right? The devil has horns.
Yes, the horn, it comes up everywhere. The ram horn, the goat horn, the devil horn. Wasn't there a mythical god that had a horn that could blow far? There horns in, let's just have a look. I'm going to have a Google search.
I think
horns in mythology.
Definitely. But yeah, you know, the devil horns, you know, is that just an analogy that people have, you know, taken as animal horn when it's actually talking about a sound? And is that the bad, right? The reset sound, right? I mean, that, right? The devil is with destruction, right? Not creation. So is that the devil horns? Who knows, right? It's all this wordplay and word spell. We know that they love to mess with things so that we get the wrong interpretation, but
absolutely. And also, you know, like we know for sure, like without even doing any more research yet, the sound frequency, the music in this realm has been completely targeted and completely altered and changed, and you know, we don't really get to see the sort of trumpets, horns, the wind. Where are they? We don't hear them anymore, do we?
I know, right? And today you hear a song with a saxophone in it, and it's just like, and you just stop and like listen to it, right? But yeah, we've lost that. Now it's just drums and guitars. No.
Yeah, real instruments. They seem to have
back in the 50s, you know, with the big bands and obviously the classical music, you know, all these horns and brass, and so that's definitely been, you know, taken away, right? And as well as the 440, 432 thing, and then we can also tie that into the cathedrals, right, and the bells and the organs.
So let's like draw some parallels here. So we've got we've got, and I know you'll put up some examples. We've got the angels with the horns in sculpture and illustrations. We've got medieval illustrations, whatever medieval meant, past illustrations of trumpets raining down from the sky, sounds raining down from the sky, you know, angels, gods with trumpets. Anyway, it's all about sound, sound, sound. It seems to be linked to and precede just a reset moment, a disaster, a shift, if you like. We've got a massive target of the sound frequencies here on the realm. We pretty much hear awful sounds now. Like, really, to be fair, coming out of the media, the movies, the TV, coming out of the population, the cityscapes, the landscapes, pretty crappy sounds.
Yeah, it is, right?
Yeah. Low frequency, low vibe.
Yeah. And basic, like the music today is so basic, right? We've gone from orchestras with 100 different instruments and people playing them to to no instruments, right? To some idiot singing to a backing track.
Yeah. I know it's shit. I know. I watched my 11-year-old with her music taste, and yeah, it's like, I call it serial music.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's disappointing what's out there for sure, but our generation wasn't that much different. You know, pop was very like when we were kids, but
we were fully in the programming our music, and now they've just got to the point where it's just blah blah blah.
Yeah, and so sexualized. So all right, now we want to connect this whole thing to the sun, because that also seems to be in combination. Whenever, like the picture behind you, Cambell, you can see they're blowing down, and there's the sun and the stars and the moon, and that's like present in most of this artwork, this concept of being connected to I guess the inner clock of the dome, if you like there is, you know, the sun, the moon, the stars, that's our inner clock. Yeah. And it operates perfectly. And we've already lingered on the idea that the suns and the pyramids and the resets are all combined, something about them. We talked previously about suns going black, like suns blacking out when a reset happens. Like there's some shift in the sun's energy, or the sun's energy is utilized in some way or funneled into something in some way. But we've never specifically talked about the relationship between the trumpets from the sky and the disappearing people, and what a sound wave could do to your personal frequency. And like,
and of course with the astrological symbolism, that's probably just showing us that it's a clock, right? They're regular. You know, read Jason's of Archaics works.
Yeah, with the Phoenix.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a regular event, and you know, look at the pictures again behind us, right? Trumpets up in the sky with angels blowing them. All this stuff happening. There's a big cloud, a bit of destruction, fire going down out of the trumpets. Like directly out of the trumpets, right? So, you know, what are they trying to tell us? And I think we know now that, you know, all these religions, all they're really doing is they know they know about these cycles, and they're just changing all the stories so that we don't know, so that when they happen, they can run away and save themselves, right? Like it's definitely stuff that, because, you know, catastrophism, we know, I mean, it's clearly, it's real, it's documented all throughout our history, but they don't teach it anymore. And to the point now where you talk about this, so don't be stupid, you know. There was one 500,000 years ago, and that was, you know, build the dinosaurs.
Well, with Jason's work, I haven't heard him talk about trumpets so much, but I mean, probably has. I mean, he probably covered it in massive epic detail, but he refers to the Phoenix, which is this well, what I don't know.
The reoccurring destructive process or something.
Every 138 years. And in that, and with that 138 years would put us in 2040, around the 2040 timeline. And I know that he would definitely talk about the combination of suns and trumpets. So
well, I mean, he talks about, you know, a couple of times where people have seen machinery in the sky, right? So, you know, is this sound, does it just happen to, you know, are we calling it a trumpet where it's actually machinery moving, right? Because that kind of, you know, like we've got trumpet sounds, you know, like trumpets and saxophones, and they're different to that, you know, that sort of deep trumpety sound that you associate with sort of thing, that affects things. It's a different tune. So I'm wondering if it's similar enough that they sort of say, oh, it's a trumpet, but actually it was stuff, machinery, right? Moving.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes so much sense, because like if you think about, say, the noise a submarine would make, it's sort of like a sonar. It's like a low, like the sound of a whale calling. Like there's definitely mechanic sounds that get to that point where they sound like that deep, call of a whale.
It's almost like, I'm sure it's in a movie I've seen, I can hear it, when you see like metal bending and stuff, and it's like, that kind of,
And if you do that sound but underwater, it's like also has another connotation to it. So that makes a lot of sense to me. This concept of trumpets could definitely have just been a metaphor for the machinery, for the mechanics, for the gear sticks.
And if it is a clock and, it changes every, constantly, but, a big change every 2,600 years, then you would think that if it is a machine, it'd just be like a clock, right?
Yeah.
The next stage.
That makes so much sense to me. So depending on, I don't know how random it is. Like, we don't know when the last reset happened, if everyone disappeared. We don't know if some were left. We don't know if the Indigenous were part of those that had disappeared, or they were the ones that got left. We don't know that breakdown, or how you'd even control such an outcome, because obviously everyone has a slightly different frequency band to start with. So if the sound's going to come, it's going to and actually disappear you out of this frequency, then you would have to be on a specific or within the vicinity of a frequency band when that happened, right? But if your frequency is lower than that, then potentially it wouldn't trigger that heightening enough to disappear. And maybe that's what we're talking about when we talk about ascension, or illumination. And when you talk about this work, everyone talks about, get yourself ready, do your shadow work, purge your system, get the heavy metals out, get your vibration up, move into joy and happiness, move into those energetics. Because when a sound, something happens with, say, the trumpets, for the metaphor, then those who are already at a certain level may be the ones that can disappear out of the realm. And that's what they're calling the quickening, or the rapture, or but if you're really down here, really low down here, and you're just down here and you're barely seeing anything, loving in the world, then maybe that wouldn't even affect you, and you'd be still here. It's
like a tuning fork kind of thing. I mean, almost like this quantum, Rife machines and that, where they literally go out and they're on a certain frequency. So everyone within a certain frequency band, if another frequency gets put in, they'll interact with it, right? But people outside of that band won't. It's like our vision, we only see a little band, and dogs and that see more, right? So same kind of concept. So I mean, is that what happens? And it's literally like bing, and everyone who's done, so it's not a judgment thing. It's just if you're on that right level, you get affected.
All right, so I can totally see how this is probably the most logical explanation so far as to what's happened. I can totally see that if you have a lot of heavy metals in your system and a lot of contaminants, that would affect your frequency. I could see how that would impact your frequency if the sound event happened, and how you wouldn't go through this disappearing and moving onto a new frequency band experience. I can see that.
So I was just going to say, watch out for what you listen to, right? Heavy metals.
Heavy metal band. I know. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. Just spelled out exactly what it is.
Exactly right.
Now, of course, everything we eat and drink these days is full of heavy metals. That's what chemtrails are. That's what they put into our food, our medicines. That's all heavy metals. And those heavy metals, they do impact and change your ability to shift frequency bands. So when all the people coming out, and consistently saying, you got to bring your frequency up, be more in joy and happiness and love, and be in service, and do all the things that are going to, eat less poisoned food, drink more, clean water, all these elements, they're all got one thing in common, and that's to raise your frequency. So when you raise your frequency, and we know this sort of event is connected to a reset moment, and we know we're going to go through a reset moment, then those who have followed that path are going to potentially or disappear in an instant off this realm, because we are just talking about a simulation that's operated simply by frequency.
Yeah. Just like in what's that book called?
The what?
The book.
The Celestine Prophecy.
Celestine Prophecies, yes. Where people just disappear. And so that, if it's just frequency, then that's completely, that's not a stretch at all, right? We just, I've said before, there could be, all these different realms, but they're right here, right? It's in the same space, but a different frequency. So literally you could be standing in the same space and you just go up, which just means everything around you changes, and off you go, right? You can just see more. And we've put it out there before, is this lower frequency, because it's a low frequency, so why like all these buildings are destroyed and not working and that. And when we raise it, because it's higher frequency, will it all be
makes sense. All right, so that makes sense. So we also know that a frequency band, it can be you can see it or not see it, but still be in the same space. Like I've always been taught that right now we're in the third dimensional frequency band, but right now simultaneously, right where I'm standing, there's other entities standing and living their existence, but we're not interacting because we're on different radio broadcasts. So when you think of life like that, the concept of sort of flat earth, round earth, space, not space, it's just like actually all irrelevant, because if it's just all frequency, then the people who are living their life on a different band are doing it right here where I'm standing in their lounge room. They have no idea I'm here. I have no idea that nothing actually, the shape of anything is absolutely irrelevant. Because
it's all a simulation.
It's all a simulation.
It's all a simulation. And then, it's a good analogy to radio, but, like TV is, right? Because literally we're sitting here watching a show.
Yep.
If you're watching a show and you change the channel, right?
That's right.
Everything changes that you're watching.
That's right.
Same thing. And all you've done is change the frequency that you're accepting into that television.
So then that's infinity kind of explains. Like
well, that's infinity. This is the thing, like people used to always go, oh, infinity's, up and down and left and right. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's not really infinity though.
No.
I mean, infinity is more like, imagine that we're a cell in someone else's body, and every single cell in our body is like another world, right? Yes. I mean, that's infinity.
That's Horton Finds a Who.
Yes.
I loved that book growing up.
Dr. Seuss stole that from me, man.
So
I think there was even a Mork and Mindy episode where he went down and he started. He shrunk down, and like the cows were down there, but they were eating the grass with knives and forks at tables and stuff.
I love those shows. They were good. They were good inversions. Gary Larson, the cartoonist. There was some good art back then. So, all right. So then, like, we've got to look at what all this is about. Like, why? Like, it is important to question the shape of the earth on the grounds that it deprograms you and frees you up from, the programming. It's important to analyze it and get to your head around the fact that is what you have been told true or not, and like what else is a lie. Like all that stuff is really important. But when we get to this level, one has to acknowledge that it's actually entirely irrelevant, because at this level, there are beings standing right where I am, and then there's beings standing right where they are, and we're all sharing the same space and we have no idea about it. And we can flicker in and out of reality at the shift of noise, at the shift of frequency, that whole cultures have been removed from this realm without explanation, that this makes so much sense in that reality, that those that haven't reached the frequency level where they're going to disappear as a result of a noise coming down, then they're going to be here still, right? That's what the Bible's all about with the rapture. That suddenly, like people, half the world disappears and half is left with the rapture. That's in the Bible. That is essentially a reset story.
That's kind of what we're seeing now, right? With a lot of people, leaving the realm, right? Is that just how we see it? Because there's a lot of change going on, it's weird, but obviously the old system's definitely collapsing, right? So something else is being built here. So are all these people that we perceive as dying, are they just you know, leaving, right? I don't know, that they're going ahead of us and going up, or they can't sort of handle the change, so they can't step up in frequency, so they literally drop out of ours.
Well,
and we perceive it as these people, you know. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, Cambell, if what we're talking about is accurate and true, then, you know, it's quite possible that, you know, this body of work, and we haven't done research to think about this before, but the body of work of how loud and at what frequency do you have to play, make a noise that's going to actually make someone disappear.
Yeah.
Like that is a very tangible experiment and journey that people could like really explore. And at that point, like, you know, we've been told this thing about med beds, and, you know, I don't know what that is or what that's going to look like, but definitely I believe new technology is coming to, you know, heal. But in the same line of thinking, what if one of those med beds attributes was the ability to put in, you know, a sound wave that actually causes you to leave the realm?
Wow.
Like, I mean, you know, we think about Beam Me Up, Scotty.
Yeah.
And think about all those sort of like coming in and out sort of examples we've got in movies and television. Like, you know, we have seen that as light. We've seen that as being a physical movement of either, you know, going up a tube or whatever. But, you know, what we're saying today is like at the end of the day, it's probably just frequency shift sound.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, everything's frequency, and it's like you look at all, you know, religions and all ceremonies, right? Like, show me a ceremony that doesn't have music attached to it. You know, we've got the drumming, we've got the throat singing, you know, all these chants, the chants, chants, you know, obviously, you know, the cathedral organs and stuff, but everything, right? Choirs, everything to do with these, you know, rituals, they're all frequency based.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah. All right. So, all right, how's this for a theory, right? On this conversation. So if like these Phoenix events, we'll go with Jason's terminology, hand waving at Jason, hello. Jason technology, the Phoenix event. And so it positively affects those whose frequencies are at a certain level. We don't know how to quantify that, but at a certain level, and they then ascend out of this realm, hence getting back their freedom, and they are out of this enslaved environment. Now, what if the agenda, those nefarious ones that have like been controlling and moving everyone's frequency down to such low levels, like what if they are innately, naturally and organically unable to shift their frequency to a high enough vibration to leave this realm? What if it's a sound wall, a frequency sound wall that is the actual quarantine? What if like they have no access? Like, if you think about it, if we have to make our frequency higher to respond to a sound wave event like this in a Great Reset and be taken out of here, then how would someone who's, you know, got no service to others, creation myth, they've got no heart activation, you know, they torture, rape, murder, eat, kind of all that stuff happens daily basis, that's their vibration, how would they possibly leave the realm on that energy if it's like a frequency that allows you to come and go?
Yeah, and is that why they know they can't leave? So that's why they've changed all the frequencies, right?
Yeah.
It's the 440, all the music, ripped out all the bells and that, so that instead of you know, because they can't ascend, they just want to keep everyone here with them, right? So they can control. So they bring down the frequencies to stop other people leaving.
And it creates like basically a hellish realm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which is very, you know, in the Buddhist text, there is all the levels of samsara, and the hellish realm's definitely in there. And all the religions have a hellish realm, you know, and like those hellish realms, is that the experiment? Like, do they not exist because we are a frequency band that is striving to get higher and higher and quicker, that it's simply, it's not a natural organic expression or experience to be in some hell realm for creator beings?
Yeah. And the only, you know, reason, if you sort of think about it, that, you know, it's a benevolent creator, the only reason would be that that we learn that that's not the way to go, right? That we learn how to raise our frequencies and get out of it. Is that the whole plan, right? Because there's so much distraction, right? Look here, look here, look here, look here, this, I'll get angry about this. But, you know, as we know, I mean, all the great masters have said, ignore that, you know, go within, you know, get, you know, centered. And we know that that raises your frequency as well.
Okay.
You know, so is that the challenge, right?
So then if that's the case, then ultimately the finest work we could be doing around these topics, like, is to probably put our headphones on and listen to high frequency sound. And that high frequency sound, we know that like sound healings as a modality is very popular now, and like people go to it to be healed. But I don't know if like we just listen to it every day as a ritual, this and I don't even know if you can listen to high frequency sound, if it's even available, if it's even been, is it available to?
Well, yeah, I mean, if this realm is 432, I wonder, do we know, can we work out the frequency of the next realm up and listen to that?
Exactly. So are we being entrapped, not so much in a physical expression of a hell realm, because we know it's a simulation, but in a sound prison? Are we in a frequency prison? Like, is this a frequency issue, solely a frequency issue, which is why they've completely gone hardcore at lowering the vibration? But the natural state for creative beings, you know, they've got to work really fucking hard to bring us down to this level. Like, hello, we're all standing here with all our amazing communities and tribes around the world. They have thrown poison at us and programming and fucking everything you can. They have so many laws and regulations, fucking weather events, everything you can imagine at us. And yet we stand here shining bright fucking lights, completely like able to stand here in the midst of that entire toxic war that we're in right now and have these conversations. That's creator beings. Like,
and that's the thing, you know, and we talk about, you know, being the light and all this kind of stuff. And it's because, you know, there's people around here, you know, on the realm that clearly, you know, have more light, if you want to put it that way, right? That they've got a higher frequency, and by doing that, they can help draw people up, right, out of the lower frequencies. So, you know, you can almost tie that back to the Dolores Cannon stuff, you know, the people coming in, is that what they're about? Because we see these people, right? And they just seem to be candles, right? They pop up and everyone just like runs to them. It's like, whoa, what happened there? You know, so yeah, I mean, I think it's all frequency, definitely. And because, you know, everything is, right? When we think a thought, that's a frequency. When we wear a color, right, that changes our frequency. Everything is an expression of frequency. So I think it's definitely a game of frequency. And you know, I think we all know innately, plus we've been told, right, like the deal is get your frequency up, raise your frequency, more light, all this sort of language.
And so I'm just, while you're speaking, I'm just randomly looking at frequency that makes things disappear.
Ooh, nice.
Look, and the first article that comes up, I'll just share screen while I'm just, we might as well do it together. Where is it on my computer? Is it here?
I think it's called, oh no, it's sharing this one.
Oh, why can't I share it with you? Come on, share screen. The frequency is like, no fucking way, I'm not sharing this one. All right. This is the first article that came up when I Googled that. It says, method uses sound to make objects disappear.
There you go.
So the initial acoustic field is produced by the loudspeakers in the outer ring, 228 control sensors in the central ring, record this field, transmit the data to a computer, 36 control sources in the center emit a secondary signal that augments the initial field in real time. And
the 3 rings of Atlantis, man.
So the first architects have long been capitalizing on the fact when building, say, concert halls. However, the principle can also be transferred to other application. Objects hidden underground can be visualized by measuring how sound waves form a known source are reflected.
Yeah.
So hello, is this how they found and managed to dig up all of the buildings? Were they just using this technology, sound waves?
Train tracks and that, LiDAR, right? Yeah.
So,
yeah.
all right.
So there you go. He's talking about cloaking with sound. I mean, and we know, right? I mean, if we can find this article easily, we know that they're what, 50 years ahead of what they're telling us at least.
This is article number 1. A way to make things disappear, and then the fear frequency.
Off the sound. Wow. And that's another thing. We know they use frequency in like movies. You know, they can make people, you know, want to buy or eat and things like this. You know, they can change people's attitudes, make people want to dance, get people angry, of course.
Yep, absolutely.
You know, which of course that's what, you know, concerts are for. I'm gonna have to look into that word concert. It's a bit of a con.
Yeah,
a certificate of being conned.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I mean, because think of our modern day concerts. That's what they are. They're like broadcasting a massive sound wave to us, like, you know, and the music is all controlled now. I mean, even in our days, the music was even controlled. Like all of the great rock bands that we used to love, there was a lot of control element in there. I mean, do you remember going through 2 years ago? There was this guy, I don't remember what his name was, but he was a big talking about the fact that he was imprisoned, and he was basically writing all the hits for all these songs. Like he was the one that was being forced to write all this music for all the greatest songs and bands. It never came from the bands. Do you remember this?
No, but I'm gonna have to look into it. There's a movie that has a scene in that like it, with this old guy, and you know, obviously Barry Manilow, right? He wrote the songs. But this ties back to the Laurel Canyon and Tavistock, right?
Yeah, tell me.
That these people have just been given stuff, you know, to sing. And the way I look at it, especially, you know, with the 60s, 70s bands, I think they were, you know, bands, right? Talented, and they just got approached. And it was like, oh, we'll sing this song, you know, we'll do an album. Oh, here, you don't have enough songs. Here, chuck these ones. And they kind of do it that way. And then when they're rich, they're like, now you're going to do this or you lose it all kind of thing. So they get them in, but also, you know, a concert in the 70s and 80s was a band on stage, right?
Yes.
Now look at them. They're like these massive theatrical productions.
Yes.
Like they get you into a certain frequency and a certain mindset, and then they just show you these images.
Fuck yeah, 100%. Well, like I'm going to remember this guy's name. So tell you the story. He was basically, his story is that he has been born into and imprisoned into the satanic agenda, that he has been cloned, that his job, they realized when he was very young that he was really musically talented. And so they basically forced him through terror and trauma, they forced him to write music. And if he doesn't write music, they basically, you know, completely torture him, do all the most horrible things you can imagine. But he came out and said that he has written the probably like the vast majority of hits that all the bands through the 70s, all the bands through the 80s and 90s have had. Like it's been his music, and the bands like just take the credit for it. And I mean talking about like major songs, like all of the major songs, like Stairway to Heaven, Pink Floyd's music, Wrecking, Rolling Stones, Beatles, all of that. And then right down to like the smaller pop groups, the smaller pop bands. So basically, so what I'm saying, and I will find his name, what I'm saying, sorry, go up.
So frequency is a weapon, definitely, right?
100%. Well, yeah, basically that's exactly right. What I was going to say is that nothing we know is music on any sort of mainstream level that we've all sung, and all the ones we know the songs to, they're all spells, and they never have been actually coming from pure creative beings. The thing is, right, when he writes this music and the record labels are about to release the album, they take this album to a place in the headquarters of the record studio, like EMF or whoever it is. Is it EMI? I can't remember. Or whoever the record company is. And there's a specific room which is set up as a satanic temple where they take the master of this album and they place it, and then they infuse in it via ritual magic a dark intent to this album. And he said this has happened with every album you would know in your whole lifetimes. A dark intent that would go through and be programmed into this album, and it would shift the frequency of the album, then they'd release it to the public. What? And that is the extent of energy they put into everything that comes out into our marketplace to do with sound and music.
Bernie talks about Marilyn Manson. You know, we all know Marilyn Manson. You know, pretty sort of shocking kind of music and frequencies. And he was obviously big, you know, making a lot of money, but he stopped making albums because he's now making a lot more money, and all he's doing is writing the soundtracks for movies and things, just the music for them. Yeah. Because he knows how to do it and to get people in certain states. And he's getting paid a fortune to do it. So it shows you how important it is to them. And this is the thing, you know, even if you think we're full of crap and this is, you know, this may work, it may not, but whatever they believe, they're doing it. They, you know, these people, whoever they are, the beings, they believe all this works and they're acting on it.
Well,
and look at the same world.
If they can't leave, if we're not talking about okay, so we've all asked the question, like, how do you get out of this firmament? How do you get out of the dome? Like, we can't pierce it. Can we go under the ocean and out? Like, we've all sort of fallen into the trap, I guess, of the conversation about it being physical. Exactly. Yes. And in reality, it's not a physical answer. And the only way in and out is actually frequency. And that seems to be the gateway to that frequency is sound. Now, that makes total sense. If we're talking about Tartaria again and the architecture of these buildings and how dominant, all the organs, all the greatest organs ever built, all built in this era, in these buildings, they're organs, Campbell. They were fucking huge. I mean, is that going to give out like a trumpet, like booming sound? Fuck yeah. These trumpets these organs were insane.
Yeah. And the domes resonated. Some of the organs were like 4 stories tall. Yeah. Like ridiculous. Yep. And all this architecture, right? If it was all, you know, built a certain way and tuned a certain way, right? And made to resonate this frequency, of course they're going to go in and start attacking it and ripping it down.
And the bells.
And the bells go out, the organs get dismantled. Choirs, you know, they're no longer there either.
Giant organs and giant bells, they would give a sound wave that was fucking huge. And that in one of those organs could be amplified out across the whole citadel. Of course, 100%. And like, you know, they've really dismantled the two sounds.
I remember the monstrances, the mini kind of cathedral, you know, things. Have you seen those? They look like cathedrals, right? The little handheld religious kind of ornaments.
Oh, yeah.
No, they just they literally look like a cathedral, like the same kind of. I'll put some pictures up. But they're handheld, so you can imagine if people had those in their houses, and you know, in the citadel, they're setting off. You know, they're starting with the bell and their organs, and that frequency is going out. And everyone's got one of these devices in their house, which then catches and amplifies that frequency in their house.
Oh my God, Cambell. Oh my God. So maybe this whole, like, the buildings of the old realm, like their whole job was to maintain a certain frequency. Their whole job was to amplify and put out a frequency band to their civilization, to their people, in order to enable their people to leave, come and go from the realm. That they were able to then keep the doorways open, go up to the different realms, go in and out of the realms, that the fucking hijacking has since come from the destruction of the frequency band, and they were the actual, the music, the organs and the bells were, and that whole...
So they were like the radio set.
Yes.
And they smashed it, so now we can't see the channel.
Yes, exactly. Exactly, which then entrapped everyone here with no way in or out. You've watched the Marvel films? Yes, you've watched the Marvel film. So the one where they have to cross from Asgard over a rainbow bridge, and then that's how they travel down into different earths and different realms. So, you know, imagine if that transportation was destroyed. So when we think about Tartaria as being an airborne civilization, maybe we're half right, because maybe they just had access to being, you know, free to be anywhere they want in the realm, because they were maintaining the frequency signatures.
You know, this whole thing of the buildings, right? The no toilets, the no plumbings, all this kind of stuff. And I've been saying for years, it just doesn't look like people lived it. It doesn't look like they were built for people to live in and inhabit. They look like machines and resonators and stuff. So is that because, they didn't need houses, right? They were flittering around, you know, and that all the infrastructure was literally just to keep the frequency, you know, to keep the frequency right. And you can pop in and pop out. It's like JC was saying, you know, if you view time like a record collection, it's all there and you can see it all, and then you just pick out the record you want to listen to at that
exactly. Exactly. Oh my God. So maybe they're like, their clock enabled them to change dials very deliberately to have access to different realms, essentially different realms. Like, you know, maybe like every realm has a very certain frequency band, you know, and if they wanted to go from Earth to the Pleiades, if that's a realm, you know, or Earth to fucking Jupiter, if that's a realm, like then it just was a matter of knowing the frequency band and then amplifying it and broadcasting it around. And what an amazing civilization. Water carries that so powerfully, and instruments and antennas,
and that's you know, that's the spacefaring civilization, right? Because they're traveling through space.
Fuck me, man.
You know,
far out. Wow.
What is it? Their never-ending mission to discover new worlds, new civilizations.
Oh my gosh. So the actual hijacking came at the destruction of the radio band.
I mean, and another thing, you mentioned Marvel, right? We've got all these movies and it's like, no, space, you know, you'll die, you need a machine, you know, a spaceship. And so look at the Marvel characters, they're in space all the time, they've got nothing.
No. And like, let's think about it. If we're in a simulation and we are just a simulation and frequency can shift with sound, which is what I experienced, like I wasn't thinking about not breathing in that moment. I like all my cells were doing something crazy and I wasn't going, I can't breathe. I didn't even know if I was breathing. I didn't even know. Like I was like in stasis, you know, I was like static. I was like static, you know, going through this thing. Like, you know, you're not thinking about breathing or fucking your body. You're not. It's not what's happening. So
because it's your being that's being changed. It's more, and that's because also, right, our mind it's a receiver. It's not, the thinking's not in here. It's out, you know, we tune it in. So if you're like, you're between stations, so clearly you're not going to be getting, you know, a broadcast in your mind.
Wow. So that's it then. When we speak about consciousness, we should be speaking about frequency. When we speak about hijacking, we should be speaking about frequency. When we speak about an agenda on this realm to enslave, we should be talking about frequency. When we talk about Tartaria and architecture, we should be talking about frequency. When we talk about a reset, we should be talking about frequency. When we talk about the sun changing, we should be talking about frequency. When we talk about what's coming and what this awakening is, we should be talking about frequency.
Exactly, right. Frequently.
Well, oh my God, Cambell, if we can stand here today and have these conversations without having any, you know, Cambell, I don't plan or think about this, like, and then have all of our beautiful audience have these conversations, like, there's no way you can stop the frequency of the God creators like rising. You can't stop it. It's impossible. You could, if Cambell and I were enslaved in a prison, we could still, like, we would not stop our amazing frequency bands. Like,
yeah, man. It's like I had to watch Dark City again last night.
Yeah, good.
And what do they call it? Brining or whatever they do, but you know, he walks up and there's a wall there and he's like, I need to get out. And he just goes, and a door appears and he walks through it, right? Frequency, man.
And how's how those dudes in Dark City, and what's it, guys? You know, hardly anyone at the live had seen Dark City or the 13th elevator. I couldn't believe it.
there's so many big names in Dark City.
I know.
It's really a movie that they wanted to make. There's a lot of big names in it.
So how's how the dudes in black, they all like, they do, it's called the tuning. It's called the fucking tuning, where they tune in their minds and then all the buildings change and all the people go to sleep. Yep. They rearrange everything and it's called the tuning and it happens at midnight every fucking night.
Nice. How did I not pick that up? The tuning. Right? Exactly. So
then the Phoenix event that Jason talks about, that has to come at a specific frequency. That is a specific tuning of, and it has a specific outcome. And for those who are at a certain frequency band, that tuning changes everything. And for those who are not at that frequency band, that tuning either A, may kill you, B, may put you to sleep or wipe your memory. C, we don't know what else could happen. We don't know.
Right, okay, yeah.
And we don't know what happens if you have got a high frequency when that tuning happens. We don't know that either. We don't know. We don't know if it's a good or bad thing. We don't know if it serves us, it doesn't. We just have this instinct, this sense, because Tartaria has been so powerful at leading us to these answers, that civilization appears to be so developed and so high frequency that everything they do is so beautiful that we love the idea that they are the ones we've come from, that this tuning event simply brings us back to what is represented in Tartaria, which feels good. Yeah.
I mean, I think Tartaria, I mean, like, you know, we know time doesn't exist, right? So it's just kind of a frequency we're trying to get to. But everyone, go on homework this week. Go and watch the Dark City, 1998, I think it is. And yeah, this whole tuning thing, when they do it, most of the people fall asleep and lose their memories, right? Yeah. But there's a couple of people who stay awake and they start working out what's going on, and they actually, when they see that it's all about frequency, that they can then start to use that against them. So, you know, there's a lot in that, right? I didn't even sort of pick that up till now. So good analogy for what's happening. Is that what you know, literally what we're talking about at some point? This, you know, whatever we call it, the event is frequency, right? But if you're not on the right frequency, you go to sleep and forget about everything and start again. And everyone who's there sees and they sort of move up, right? Because at the end, what happens at the end of that movie? He creates the world that he wants. He creates this amazing, beautiful world. He brings the sun back. Remember, there was no sun. He brings the sun back. And now, the water. Two things that were missing was the sun and the water.
Interesting, hey? The two things that, you know, are so important. And are also missing. Well, hello, watch the water and the suns. It's new suns appearing everywhere. And isn't it interesting that we've talked a lot about sleep and what is sleep and what is dreaming and what is sleep, where did it come from? You know, potentially we don't even know if the connection between Tartaria and not sleeping, because there's no evidence of beds and things, and our theory about there being more light in the world, 2 suns, 3 suns, and darkness was never a thing like that. A descension into darkness is new and part of the reset hijacking. Like potentially our concept of needing to sleep has come at the result of this fucking low frequency band that we're in. Like, because like literally it exhausts us. Literally it is so tiring that like going to bed at night and waking, like it's like we can't imagine life without it now. It's so ingrained into our programming since the last reset that we just think it's the most natural, organic thing in the world, that every animal and every living human being needs to go to sleep. And the reality is, in this the denseness of this frequency band, like that's probably absolutely true. Like we can't sustain it.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's tiring. We're fighting against it, right? Because like we're on this level and we're constantly being pulled down, right? So exactly. And I mean, this whole concept of sleep, I mean, everyone thinks we need sleep, but that's only because we're looking from this perspective, right? We're looking from where we are out, we've got a very small perspective. You know, if we try and rate all the rest of creation of what we experience here, then we're missing like 99.9.
Yeah, for sure. So Cambell, like if sleep is a side effect of being forced into this low frequency band, then it would make sense that dreams are, because it's not natural to us, that even being forced into sleep as creative beings, we're still in creation. So we're in dreaming. So the ones who are waking up or are attuned to this high frequency have epic dreams. They dream every night. They dream because sleeping is only a side effect of being in such density and not natural to us. And we're not, we're only struggling with our physical bodies because we can't handle it. We actually have to turn ourselves off to recharge, essentially, boom, like a battery, like like a battery. But dreaming, hello, is that us just still being awake because we're not used to, and
or is that our natural state?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the frequency. We sort of go back to our normal frequency and go and sort of relax in there for 8 hours and get us up, and then when we wake up, it's like we get sort of pulled back down again.
Exactly. So our natural state in the dream world is very free and lucid, like, hello, very, very free. But in this low density, we are governed by the rules of the sound harmonics, and these sound harmonics are shit. Yeah. And so we get exhausted and sick and tired, and we are limited in what we can create. And we're all really exhausted in the 3D physical sound wave. Don't think of it as a 3D physical world. Think of it as a 3D sound wave.
Yeah, man. All frequency. I mean, it's a completely different way to look at it. And of course, we've got, the Schumann frequency. So we've got that as well, scientific, evidence that this realm has a frequency, and it changes, right? It's rising at the moment.
I think that's because two suns have appeared.
Yeah, exactly right. More energy. What's going on with that is, and it's interesting, you talk about these two, and some people will argue and they're blue in the face that, no, you're stupid. There's only one sun. Is that because they can't literally see it because they're on the wrong frequency? All this arguing, right, that's going on. And, obviously it's a bit rampant at the moment. And it's all these people trying, all arguing is saying, you must believe what I believe, or you're going to annoy me, right? But is that predicated on these people can't see what we see? Literally, they can't see it because they're just on the wrong frequency.
Yeah, I mean, and because of that, they're also not inspired to even ask that question or search for it. So it's like, I was saying that last week, like there's so many videos on YouTube of two suns now. But, if you're not going to ask those questions or even contemplate it, you'd never even be in the... Yeah, you wouldn't even look, you would, and if you did see it, you wouldn't even believe that it was real, Yeah.
So literally it's a reality to some people and not a reality to others. So different frequencies. So, I mean, it's very interesting, right? Trumpets, we started on trumpets. Of course, should we say Orange Man?
Well, look, I mean,
trumpet himself.
It's really fascinating because all of this questioning and getting to these sorts of conclusions, that's all come from starting with Tartaria. Not the culture of the Tartars, but this uncovering of history and the mechanics of our realm and our understanding how we are in this dynamic that we're in. So I guess if anything we're saying is accurate, that you could actually, if you I mean, this is just an idea, but if you basically did a high frequency sound retreat for a month and blasted your hearing with the highest frequency, I mean, and maybe that's white noise. I don't even know, but I don't even know how high frequency we've actually produced on this realm. Is it even possible to produce the highest frequency sounds? Probably not. Although they used to here, didn't they, with the water and so then I have to say it probably is.
And stuff. And if there's anyone into frequencies, who knows more than we do, send us an email, please. We'd like to, look into this more, because I was just thinking too, we put out the idea of a dream camp, right? A lucid dream camp and meeting up in the dream world. Now, I wonder if having a frequency camp before that would facilitate that, right? You spend a week raising your vibration, everyone gets on the same frequency, then you go into the dream world.
It has to be. I think the frequency is a higher element to the dream world. I think I think if we did some research and put together the sounds that the highest we can find, and I don't even know if you can go higher than the ones that are available online, and then basically just like listen to them 24/7 for a week or so, we should see, if what we're saying is accurate, then we should see some shift in our realm, in our reality, you know, like we should be able to see a tangible result from that. I mean, that's if we can find the noise to listen to that is facilitating the right frequency shift. And then from there, our dreaming and lucid dreaming process, and probably just our sense of well-being and our energy levels will have increased, I would say. If what we're talking about is
and if dream realms are realms, then they'd be a frequency, wouldn't they?
Or frequency.
So if we are tuned to the same, we should all end up in the same realm. You know?
Yes, definitely. So, and same with the negatively opposed polarization. Like there would be a massive signature to that frequency of that realm, you know, massive. And we know it. We know it all comes with fear and torture and pain and suffering and, you know, guilt and like all of those like enslavement energetic program, dungeon programming, awful. And
so just as a side note, all this stuff that's you know coming out, all this, you know, Rife machine, frequency healing, this kind of stuff, you know, a lot of people are poo-pooing it, but if you understand that we're just frequency and we're not physical, then why would you let someone cut bits out of you rather than just playing a tune, right? Because it's like we've seen it in cymatics, right? You've got a frequency and you have a shape, right? A geometrical shape. You change that frequency, instantly changes.
Yeah.
So that is a representation of every cell in your body.
Yeah.
Because that's water, right?
Yeah.
Put frequency in, bing. That's how you can raise your frequency. So I think there's scientific, this is kind of scientifically provable as well as, you know, experientially, right? So I think we need to do this, right?
I mean, Satan is just a frequency, as Christ is just a frequency, you know, as everything we see. Love is just a frequency. Intimacy and attraction to another is just a frequency. Like, you know, that's why coming together with our live events is so powerful, because we are emitting a joint frequency band that's really unique. Like it's a unique signature of unique minds that aren't like, you know, that are tiny little pockets around the earth. I mean, honestly, Cambell, I think our live events are some of the first in the world ever on the topic of, you know, consciousness, Tartaria, and where we go with this. That is a unique expansion. It's a unique frequency band.
It is. I had something very clever to say.
That's happened to me twice during this podcast. I've like had a thought.
Need a pad and paper. You talk. I completely forgot what I was going to say.
It's all right. And I think it's like really fucking an amazing summary. Like if we were writing a book on all of everything we've spoken about to date, this probably would be like getting close to one of the ending chapters. Like it makes absolute sense that we are in a frequency realm and that the hijacking is a sound, is a frequency, and that
think of our language.
I know.
I vibed with them. They weren't on my level. I just felt right. You know, it's all about frequency. All that language about whether you like or dislike someone, it's all about frequency.
Yep. I know. It's absolutely like when my partner pisses me off, like we have a very passionate relationship. And when we're good, we're great. And when we're pissing each other off, we're and you know, it's a complete like, it's a frequency. It's a argument of frequency. It's a war of frequency, always and forever in relationships. That's what they are. They're like a negotiating of frequency bands, you know, on a real micro scale in your life.
Trying to find that one that you can both go to where it's all good.
Exactly. So if you look at that from a worldwide perspective, like look at the sort of like the love making or the arguments you have in a relationship, like in your life, and then take that frequency example and then make it big enough that the whole realm's affected. Like, honestly, if you could get into the frequency band of your worst like relationship arguments and then put that across the whole realm, that's a pretty ghastly thought. You know, that's a pretty intense reality to think about.
Mm.
You know, so I don't know.
Which is what's being done with broadcasts, you know, the news, broadcasting, the Hollywoods,
Yeah,
movies all made up of casts, all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
So it's all frequency, and of course, you know, all the stuff they show us with magic, you know, magic. It's all freak, you know, you don't see anything, right? There's nothing physical to do with that. So clearly it's frequency.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you talk about like demons or, you know, demonic attacks or witchcraft, this is absolutely all frequency. And in fact, I know with a lot of people who've done lucid dreaming methods, have I told you about this where they cut the ping pong balls up and
you mentioned it on the last one. Yeah.
So I was talking about it live on the weekend. Yeah. So they basically, the technique is simple. You take a ping pong ball, you cut it in half, you put a white one, you put it around your eyes, you tape it up, and then you put white noise on for half an hour. And it induces in you, your brain, to actually get impacted by observing nothing. And that energetic can create like massive anxiety in people. Because in that in that moment, they're starting to see demonic presences and demonic energies. And I was reading an article the other day, and fucking if I can't remember I'm not going to be able to remember to cite it. But basically, what it was saying is that there was. Oh no, I remember. Okay, this is a weird one, right? This is about the war and the technology they were creating for the war, and they were creating these. And it wasn't. Was it info? They'd created these glasses. Have I told you this?
Yeah. The red glasses, Vietnam War. Yeah.
And that's right. I showed you that last week. And then they could see all these full-on demons around them, hardcore, that it was absolutely shocking. Everyone who wore them, terrifying them. And suddenly they weren't attacking the enemy. They were trying to defend themselves from these demons that were fucking everywhere. And all that was a shift in like light code.
Frequency.
Yeah.
Frequency, different color. And color's frequency.
Yeah.
They could just literally see a different frequency, which is something I need to do. I'll get night vision goggles, which are green, I think. And apparently, you know, you can see things flying around in the sky with them at nighttime, right? Because we're literally looking on a different frequency.
Well, we should get some Tartaria night goggles, Cambell. I think that would be a fantastic like thing. Yeah. I think our cool t-shirt shop needs to expand to into some of these like glasses and lucid dreaming glasses and night vision glasses, because man, we are lazy when it comes to exploring these realms, really. Very lazy. Like, you know, we don't really do it. We don't prioritize it.
No, which is something we're going to get into in the dream world, because you know, there's all this talk, but what are we really doing, right? We're spending all our time in this physical realm, really just affirming it more and more every time. So we need to start exploring what, you know, the limits of our senses, I guess, right? The peripheral, you know, it's like with peripheral vision, you know, people are always seeing stuff that they can't explain like quick, just in their peripheral vision, right? And then it's gone because you're not focusing on the frequency. It's just like, and cats and dogs, right? They're always running around chasing things that aren't there. So there's a lot more here than we know. And maybe, we just got to change our focus a little bit, right? To look into different realms from this one. And if we can start to see different realms, then, you know, maybe we'll start to learn how to get into them, right?
So from here on in, we have to just start using the word frequency. Like, we have to just start like really applying it to all of our conversations here with Tartaria, like really making that cognitive link to that language. Like, we need to have ourselves really integrate the idea that this is a frequency issue. Like the hijacking's a frequency issue, the Tartarian realm's a frequency issue, the reset's a frequency issue, the missing people's a frequency issue, the buildings are a frequency issue, what's coming is a frequency issue, like the suns, it's all gonna like pivot around this idea of it being frequency.
So we're going to keep, you know, raising the frequency, but I think we need to, like Kelly said, start putting some actual effort into seeing if we can, you know, start seeing or, you know, creeping into these other frequencies and worlds. And is that the way out, right? Everyone's talking about how do you get out of here, right? Well, you need somewhere to go.
Yeah. All right. Well,
that's what we need to find first.
I'm going to leave a challenge to the audience today. If you've made it this far, if you to do some research and leave down in the comments or send us an email about sort of the crazy technology that we could have fun playing with. Like, you know, I'm sure the night vision goggles have probably been evolved since the last time I looked at them, and they're probably, you know, several different spectrums of options there. And, you know, what could we start playing with? Like, has anyone got any ideas, you know?
Yeah. I think we'll have a look around. I mean, because we don't know what's out there, but there's probably, you know, glasses where you can have multi, you know, lenses on them, different things. And so we'll have a look and see what we can find and bring out the alternate reality Tartaria Australian vision glasses.
Because from this conversation, we start to bring in another equation. We're starting to look at sort of, we're going through the same information, but with a different mathematical explanation of it, a different, there's a lot of questioning of, you know, where are we? What is this place? But there's not a lot of question of what's surrounding us. And look, I mean, let's fill this video, Cambell. It's be up to you. Let's fill this video with sound experiments. Let's see what's out there in the world of sound. I mean, I'm fascinated, you know, like I would really have not connected those dots so strongly as we have today. There's tons out there. And of course, guys, if you've got any you know, good info on, you know, different, you know, frequency products and things, or just frequencies that are good, you know, maybe if you know what's above 432, let us know, send us an email, because you know, we definitely want to get into this topic. And you know, obviously we know that you guys are all smart motherfuckers, and you know, you're the problem solvers, so you can help us, you know, or together we'll get it done, right? This is the beginning of a new chapter of understanding, for sure. That's one thing about us, guys. You can't say that we, you know, sit on our laurels. Right? This is where we'll find the llama corn, Cambell. This is where we'll find the llama corn. Yes, who's got the llama corn frequency? Give us the llama corn frequency. I have the llama corn frequency. I am going to like get the llama corn frequency out there. All right, buddy. Well, amazing. I really enjoyed that little chat. Trumpets, dreams, frequencies, and of course, all the links below, guys. And if you're up in New Rockhampton, Northern Queensland, check out the link. Come and see us live next month. We'll be there. I'll be sweating like a dog. Cambell will be loving it. He'll be cool cat man. Shorts and my Hawaiian shirt. Oh my God. I don't even know how to dress for Rockhampton. So anyway, I'll just be in survival mode. But yes, Rockhampton, 20th November, $44 everyone, 33 for your concession. Just come and have a good day with us. And it's a really good preceding to the actual tour next year. So I'm excited. And Cambell, let's do it. Give us a like, give us a share. Like, you know what? My YouTube channel hasn't moved. It hasn't moved. I haven't had a new subscriber to YouTube, according to YouTube, for like 7 months. Yes. So I don't know what's going on. And yet, I know we get so much feedback that we are definitely being watched. Indeed. So share this around. Share Kelly's channel around. I'll find the link below. But maybe it's good. Because I don't get censored, like I don't think so yet. Like you're way more like a target than me. The radar a bit more. All right, guys, what a blast! Literally, what a fucking blast this show has been. And now roll on the sound, Cambell. Roll on the trumpets, and we will say goodbye till next week. We love you. Stay awesome. Stay awesome. Next upload. See you guys. Bye.